Hello and welcome to another HubSpot User Group. My name is Trav and today I am here with Geordie Roberts, one of the long-time
band members
of Neighbourhood. You must forgive me if I sound like I'm Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. Don't know where I'm going with this. I may or may not have a cold. I don't know. We'll all figure it out. You all will figure it out pretty soon. Today, we are here today to talk all about prospecting and using HubSpot for best practices around that side of things. We're going to go through and deep dive into some of the tools that we use as well, we implement for some of our clients, and also just have a bit of a poke around and basically get to explore on how you could use it to do better prospecting. Geordie, I'll do an intro for you if you want.
Yeah, perfect.
It's kind of been here for over 6 years and basically has seen every single type of project known to man when it comes to extremely complex projects to really simple ones as well. So I'm pretty privileged to have him here today to help us navigate, I guess, the tools that have been around for a little while, but also the new ones that have the little beta next to them as well, and to give you our honest feedback on those tools and whether they're ready to sort of start using day to day.
I think that's inaccurate.
Yeah, some of them look good, some of them might not be good to use today, but so it's perfect for those that really want to start to use the actual portal itself to get better insight and look for potential opportunities for when the leads come through. Before I get kicked off, one thing I kind of wanted to have pop up on the screen, down below, up above, wherever it might be. I am going on a very much deserved, if I do say so myself, holiday for a couple of weeks. So I'll be off next month and I will be in warmer weather, hopefully without a jumper. But I have got Harry and Cassie taking over the hug for that month. Now, if you are a finance broker, this one is specifically for you. We've seen an influx of finance brokers use HubSpot specifically, but also to go through and find some efficiencies within the platform as well. So we thought it might be a really good opportunity to go through and actually do a dedicated hug about that. Harry, who's going to be there with Cassie, Harry has done numerous amounts of implementations for finance brokers, and I think there's some really cool stuff that we're building in there as well, just to sort of help have a really good customer experience, but also help the staff internally do a bit more efficiency internally, not having to spend too much time on admin.
I think it's turned into Harry's bread and butter at the moment, is the finance brokers. He really loves it and gets into it.
No, I think it'd be a great one. If you are a finance broker or a budding finance broker, I don't know, this is a if you always wanted to become a finance broker, this one's for you. So this one is going to be on July the 17th at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. A description below, there's going to be a link to that specific hug. Click on that, you can reserve a spot. I think we've only got 100 reservations for the online event. Get in quick. If you can't make it, we'll send through the recording through to your inbox as well, so you can check it out at a later date, or feel free to forward it to somebody that you reckon might want to come across it as well.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm really pumped. But you know what I'm pumped for?
Holiday.
Yeah. and prospecting.
Prospecting. Love prospecting.
Yes. There's a few things we're going to kind of tackle today, George. I think there's a few things we're going to kick about. Obviously, one of the main ones I think that has got a fresh coat of paint in the last couple of months is the lead scoring tool. Lead scoring will track the behavior of a specific contact, and then basically what you can do is you can attribute a score plus or minus based on their behavior. For example, if they visit the pricing page, you might want to give them a score of 10 because it's highly probable that they're looking at pricing for a very good reason. But you also might want to deduct points for certain things. For example, hasn't been back to the website after a certain amount of days or weeks. And that scoring can compile to become a certain score that you make inside. Now, internally, we have a scoring system, a Fibonacci sequence system that we stick to that works through a high intent and low intent, and we basically build out a matrix on what that looks like. I'm going to take a pot shot here because I guarantee we've done a blog or a video on this before. There's a link in the description if you're watching this post to read all about that and to gain more insight. It has got a refresh of late though.
Yes, the new lead scoring tool. Yeah, very big handle. I was actually going to ask, can you recite the Fibonacci sequence?
Yes, 1, 3, 7, 11, no.
The Fibonacci sequence is a sequence of numbers that is the previous two numbers added together. So it goes 0, 1, one technically twice. Don't ask me why. Don't actually know why.
You should know.
I should. 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 11, 13, 21, 34, and so on. The reason behind it is that it allows the difference between, say, let's say a 10 and 11, to really differentiate between that. There's not much margin in that. But if you look at an 8 and a 13, you can tell a big difference in that. So you can show the intent between looking at, say, like the pricing page, like Trav mentioned, and looking at a blog, let's say. So Fibonacci sequence is one that we use here. I don't know where it kind of started, why we ended up started originally.
I think it started with Fibonacci when he created the numbering system back in the 1300s.
And we've just gotten on the back of that and run with it, really.
Train, yeah. So what we wanted to do is we kind of wanted to pop the hood and run through. I think, George, you'll tackle this as well in regards to feature sets and how that would kind of work. And how the new tool works, because I believe there's two parts now. It's not just sort of hidden in the properties area and then you've kind of got to build it out. It's got its own dedicated area. So if you've been looking at that and being like, what is that and how does that work? This is the chapter that you start on, because George is going to tell you all about it. And then we can kind of talk, I guess, contextually on how it works and how to actually use it day to day. Also, a little tip, another flashing up, is that you won't get it right the first time. You will not get it right the first time. And you will not perfect this. You'll perfect it over a 6 to 12 month period. So I just want to put that as a disclaimer. We flash it up there, disclaimer.
It's something you work on over and over and over again until you work it out. Because, there's so many variables that you can actually add into this, but there's just too many.
Correct.
Almost.
Yeah.
So we'll run through kind of what it looks like. We'll even look at what ours looks like at the moment. And maybe you can give us some feedback on how you're finding it at the moment.
Yes, I will do.
Don't
judge us, please. All right, well, let's jump into it. So let's get started with lead scoring.
So lead scoring is in under marketing here, and then down the bottom under lead scoring. It used to live in the property section, and you could create a scoring property for anything, but they are sunsetting that as of August. Actually is when they're doing that.
Rest in peace.
RIP. So lead scoring lives in here, and there's a few different types you can use. So the two core types of it is the fit score and the engagement. Fit is based off different properties that is on a contact or a company that make them a good fit as your kind of ideal buyer. Then there is the engagement score, which is what Trav was kind of talking about before, is when they go and visit certain pages on your website or they do certain behaviors, which is all kind of focused around their actions, whether it's, opening certain emails, marketing emails, it could be going to your pricing page, it could be viewing blogs. All of that is engagement scores. Then there is the actual combined, which I think the combined is what kind of makes sense, because people complete actions on your website, but if they don't fit what your ideal kind of buyer is, then they're probably not a good fit. So there's also the AI scoring, which is kind of it builds it itself for you.
What do you think about that?
When I first used it, I wasn't a big fan at all. I think it said for us or whichever portal I was using it in that it was like one of the pages just was not a good fit. It might have been almost like a careers page for a client. It said was a page that made a good fit. Doesn't really, I'd say a careers page would typically be a negative, because if they're looking to work for you, with you, they're not looking to buy from you. That's not showing good intent to purchase. And that is the whole point behind lead scoring, is to find those people who are showing higher intent to purchase from you or do business with you. So I'll step through kind of what it looks like in building out one of these. I will keep it nice and simple for this example. I will even show you what ours looks like at the moment, so you can get some examples of the stuff that we're doing. So if I go to create score.
Big kudos to Jaden for that one.
Big Jados.
He spent a bit of time on that one.
I haven't actually explored it, what he's built out.
Well, plug yourself in, mate.
Looking forward to going along with everyone else in this. So as you can see here, there's the different contacts or companies scoring. It's basically just to weed through the noise, I would say. If you're getting a lot of leads coming in, it's just a way of finding those ones that you should be focusing your time on, rather than trying to speak to every single person that comes into your business, whether they're submitting the contact form or whether you've got downloadable content they're downloading. It's just for you to find those people that you should chat to, or not even just chat to, I'd say even nurture more. I'll show you an example of what to do when you do get a good score here and how you can do that, whether it is a task just to give them a call or whether it is different nurturing based on that score as well. So there's the different types here, the ones I mentioned before: engagement, fit, combined. I'd pretty much recommend combined a lot of the time, and you don't have to pull properties from both of them, but if you change your mind later, you can then use it. So if I go create into contacts here, there's the different types here. We can go through add event group or add property group. Event group, that is that behavioral kind of actions that they're doing. So that's going to different pages on the website. That is opening sales emails, opening marketing emails, all those sorts of things. And that property group is then that fit score I've kind of talked about there too. What I might do as an example, I might actually just show ours because I think that then gives a lot more context rather than trying to build it out from scratch. I'll still show you how to add event criteria and things like that, but it'll just be a much better filled out example. So this is our lead scoring. We've got the combined one here. I'm going to clone it out and then we can kind of play around with all of those options in there. So if I just clone that, and you might set up a lead score that is focused on a certain, whether it's a certain persona. You might have different personas that basically their actions might be different to others. So, for us, we've got a marketing manager persona. Their actions on our website might be different to what we want from a sales manager on our website. It might show different intent. So you might build out a base lead score and then clone that out and just add in specifics to those personas. It's going to save you a hell of a lot of time rather than just trying to build that from scratch every time. So as you can see here, some of ours is if they visit the website, they get a point. We want to see the people who are coming to our website and reward them with points, because if they're not coming to the website at all, that's showing no intent to actually engage with us or do anything with us. When they go and visit different pages here, we can see we've added in a lot of different URLs, and there's the different rankings here, the points, based on that Fibonacci sequence we touched on before. But you can see the pages that we are gauging as the most, showing the most intent is our work page. So that's our case studies and showing our previous work. And then our team too, because if they're looking at our team, good chance they're actually looking at who they're going to be working with. So they're a little bit more further down the funnel than say somebody who looks at even the culture, our blogs, our learn page, or even our HubSpot hacks. They're trying to learn for themselves there rather than engaging with us at that point. So if they're engaging with something like HubSpot hacks, they're probably more in the awareness stage rather than further down in the consideration or the decision phase of their journey. If I go down here, we've also got form submissions. So if they complete certain form submissions here, that is showing more intent. As you can see, the pricing download is 8. Some other options we've got down here is marketing interactions. So they're engaging with opening our marketing emails is just 1 point, because it doesn't take much intent to just click open an email. Quite simple, doesn't take much. Versus if they're clicking a link in that email, that is actually a bit more intent there, and that is 2 points. Then our ads, if they've engaged with our ads, meaning they've clicked, they've submitted those forms on those ads, we're ranking that as pretty high because historically, people who've engaged with our ads do follow through and become customers with us. If they're booking a meeting, that is 5 points there. Then we come down to personas as well. I think personas is a really important thing where you can focus on your positive personas rather than your negative personas. So you can see here, Sam, the sales leader, and Marky Mark, the marketing manager, are both of our primary personas, our positive ones that we try to get more of. Just based on years of working with these types of people, we know that they're a good fit for our agency here. Versus Frank, the founder, Ollie, the owner, and Gemma, the general manager, while they're positive because we know that they're personas, they're just a 5. We go through from form answers, basically what they've actually submitted on those forms. We go through the sources, if they're like returning clients, we know that they're a really good fit, or if they've come through the HubSpot directory. Number of website sessions we've touched on. And then if they've unsubscribed, that's negative for us. Obviously, they're not interested in hearing about our marketing information or even our hacks or anything. So that is a negative for us. So as you can see here, it's a wide range of different things that fit here, from the personas, which is that fit property, versus marketing interactions with our emails, with our website, with even booking meetings and sources. We've got a whole range of things here. This is not going to be a one-size-fits-all. I don't think for anyone, if you were just to copy all of this, it might not be a good fit for you, because your audience is going to interact with your website and be different to kind of what we've got here. But I do think there's probably some patterns to follow.
Well, here's a good question. So that's kind of what we've come up with, and basically it's an ever-evolving machine that we've got. Say, for example, George, I was just starting. What are some factors that you would take into consideration to start building it out?
I would go and look at your customer base and your audience and go back through all of their interactions and see where they first converted, what other pages they converted on after that. Because if they've downloaded and gated content, they might have gone through and downloaded some other things as well. Even the ones that they've viewed. And I'd go through probably the whole journey of those customers as well, not just the ones that were the last things they did. I'd also go through the first things they did as well, because I think the last things will show you probably where they got the most intent. So they're probably downloading the pricing, and that's probably where they are in that consideration or the decision stage. But those first points of which pages of the website are they going to see? Are they visiting lots of your blogs? Are they going and seeing your video content if you do have some? That's equally as important, but you just rank it differently, I think.
So you're sort of saying at the end of, like, for example, if you're starting right now, I'm going to do an AI summary of what you just said. If you're starting right now, take all of the customers that have successfully transacted with you, and then basically have a look at those, and then go through, maybe Breeze could do this, and analyze the specific actions and, like, I guess the engagement that they've had from first touch to conversion, and then basically look at the last 3 months worth of data and look for similarities and consistencies, and then basically look at those in regards to high intent, and then maybe start there.
Yeah, I think that's a good starting point.
You know what's a good idea too, is to look at the ones that weren't great. Yeah. And then you could use the decay tool.
That's equally as important. Is like, while we're talking about like all the positive things someone does, negative is just as important.
Yeah.
Because someone can do a lot of the good things, but also a lot of the incorrect, like the wrong things. And you're going to waste time on them.
Maybe hovering on the team page too much. I mean, it's not a bad thing. Like,
yeah, true.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be also them looking if they wanted to work here as well.
Yeah, that's
What's
right.
the team like? What's the culture like?
Yeah.
One really useful thing I think could be to do is, if you have a really good fit customer, like that customer, by the time you spoke to them, they were super educated, they knew what they wanted, they knew all about you and what your service was. They're going to be the ones you really want to be having the conversations with the most. You could go back through and go through some of the contact properties that exist on contacts, and there's some that are like last page seen, first converted, last converted. You could do last converted, which if you export that property history out for that contact, it's going to show you all the pages that they converted on. And that's just a simple way to actually just pull it quickly and easily. Even if you go to those properties and you click on that details, it'll just show you that list of them. So that's probably a really helpful tip to go find those pages. As well as not even just the pages, there's other properties inside contacts that are going to show you some good information.
Yeah.
I think is a good starting point.
I think don't try and get it perfect. That's the big thing, is that I think what we do is we have a lot of people that go through and really try to get it perfect. I think if you can go through and at least just get some steps done up, maybe we could look at maybe 6 to 8 steps, and at least just launch with that and review it every 30 days to sort of see, is this in line with my expectations of what constitutes somebody that would want to convert. The idea is, and I think if we kind of sum it up, is to really try to get some consistency with some behaviors that happen within the organization. Tying back to prospecting means that if we can catch some of these behaviors nice and early, it means we can re-engage with them at an earlier standpoint and have a conversation with them, spinning up that velocity of that sale as well.
Yeah.
Or if you're an SDR, presenting that through the AE to go through and have that meeting if you go through as well.
I think that's the thing is don't overcomplicate it when you're starting out because the most important thing is just capturing this data. It's you can evolve it and change it and refine it as you go on, but the important thing is to start somewhere. So once you've kind of got a bit of a criteria here, there's just a couple of little things here I will just take a look at. There's the contacts, so we can choose specific contacts that we want to actually score. So you might have a list of people, whether it is by persona. This could be one that we break down by persona, and we know we'd just focus on the people who have that in this system. Or there are specific contacts. So I'll get into some target accounts shortly, but that could be where you could have specific companies that you want to focus on, that you might have a list of contacts from those companies, and you could create scores based on that. So if they're hitting certain pages, you could get scored on that and be able to find them easier. Now that you've actually built out your scoring, the probably big question is like, what do you actually do with it? And there's two simple things I want to show on what you can do with it. One, in its very simplest, is depending what kind of business and the way you interact with your leads, it is just to create a workflow that creates a task to give them a call when it hits 50. So, or whatever that scoring might be. I think that's probably one actually other thing as well is that you're not going to know what that good score is going to be right off the bat either. You kind of have to play with it and work out what is actually going to be enough engagement to be a good score. So for this example, I've just chosen 50 out of the blue, but once they hit that score, then I get a task to give them a call. And it might be just hey, just noticed you've been on our website, just wanted to send over some information, or you might send out an email to them as well. It really depends on how you engage with your prospects. It's not a one-size-fits-all. That's one example of how to use it. Another one might be that you might do different nurturing based on that. So when I've been speaking about awareness, consideration, and decision stage, if they're at 50, you might kind of deem that as they are more engaged, they're more educated, they could be further down the funnel. And so you could change their nurturing that they're receiving, automated, based on their score. So you might have one that is, once they hit over 50, they enroll into this nurturing and they receive different content than they would have if they had no score or they just kind of entered your CRM as well. So they're just two very simple examples of what you can do with that once you actually do get that scoring in the system. I think the last thing I'll leave it on is that the most important thing for this is to then give feedback to whoever set this up, whether it is marketing, it's sales, or it's check back in on these, like whether it's every 2 months, 3 months, and just go, how are we finding these? Are we getting good leads from this, or are we wasting our time even more? And then refine that over time.
Well, that's the lead scoring segment part. If you've got any questions, if you're watching this live, make sure you shoot them on the side if you haven't done so already. Otherwise, keen to see your comments and also how you would implement these within your organization. Obviously, our is just a sort of a framework on how it could be used. Definitely contextualize it to your organization to make sure that it kind of is custom to what you guys do, or sing out if you need a hand as well. I think the next part that I kind of wanted to talk on, it's one from a prospecting space that doesn't really get used too much, and I think it could be utilized a whole lot more based on the portals that we're in. I'm quickly trying to scourge to go to the area. I'll go for prospecting. Sequences is one that's just perfect, and I think people get a little bit confused in regards to sequences and nurturing and emails, etc. Just to be very clear, sequences are one-to-one emails that get sent through a feed of information. So usually when you send a marketing email, you'll have the preferences and the unsubscribe at the bottom, where the sequences specifically are being sent directly from your Gmail or Outlook or something along those lines, so you're not having to have those unsubscribes or manage preferences aspects as well.
There is still the, there's this email not for me, click here. They can unsubscribe.
I don't think it gets
I'll just flag that. You can unsubscribe from sequences.
Does it get sent with it?
It sends, yeah, there's a link at the bottom. It says, this not for you, or don't think this is for you. Click here, and it's like an unsubscribe.
Really?
Yeah.
So I guess the difference between it's one-to-one, so it gets sent through your Gmail or your Outlook along that matter. So it definitely looks a little bit more humanized. You can still bring personalization tokens into the sequences as well, But I'll quickly go through this just to show you through two different variants. If you are prospecting, to be able to enroll. If you've got sales enterprise, even better, because you can auto enroll people into sequences based on a workflow, based on any criteria. Maybe a lead score getting hit automatically into a sequence, boom, straight out. So George, are you able to quickly run us through, I guess, sequences and basically the difference between, I guess, the new dynamic sequences, but also just your standard sequence and the use case that it could be used in as well?
Sequences is something I think that people get a little bit scared to use because there's a level of automation inside it. You can automate these sequences to do the follow-up for you, or you can set up manual tasks to be always sending that email yourself every single time. I think it's one of those things where it's good is in prospecting to just be reaching out to people. HubSpot does a really good job of setting up some like ready-made email templates. So if I just click on create in this sequence, I just want to show you the templates before I come back into what the difference is between dynamic, which is brand new there, or the start from scratch. So the pre-made sequences, I think, are a good step if you haven't played in this before. Only because it gives you a structure of how you could structure it. Not so much the content. I think some of the content is a little bit generic and it's from HubSpot, have set that up like years ago. ChatGPT is a thing these days. I think go and add in all your information the way that your tone of voice, add in some of your sales emails of how you would prospect and reach out to people, and then get it to write it in your tone of voice. But here are the pre-made ones that they've got like a recent conversion. So if they've downloaded a certain piece of content, could reach out to them. Again, that's something you can actually automate as well. Even on professional, if they view a certain page or they download or complete a certain form, you can enroll in a sequence automatically. The enterprise one Trav mentioned is a lot more control where based on any action in the portal, like a deal reaching a certain stage, you can enroll in a sequence, which I think is a really useful tool when you've got them further down the pipeline. Probably the cold outreach, I'd say you'd want a bit more control of it because you don't want to just kind of blast out generic stuff to everyone and anyone. So I think it's important to probably take baby steps with this and not just go automate everything and make everyone enrolling into everything because it's easy to overload people.
People know.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of obvious, I think, these days.
I will say there is a platform out there, and I will do a hug one day on it, that is very, very good, that you will never be able to tell that it was written by an AI. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll get into that one later.
Yeah, we'll get into that. It's not on HubSpot.
But do click through some of these. There's some simple ones of like product or demo request, post-call meeting follow-up sequence. Prospecting, there's actually two here, which is one is call heavy and one is email heavy. So the one thing here, they've kind of half set it up where all the other ones actually have content in here where they're like, here's an example of the content you could include in this email. These ones is just insert email body here. But you get the structure here of it'll send an email, then 1 business day later, it'll say call and leave a voicemail. 2 business days later, call, contact, a follow-up, and then send a follow-up email depending if they answered or anything. That's the call heavy one. So depending on who these people are that you are prospecting, you might change your approach. So there's different options here, and you can see that this runs across quite a lot of days there, but there's all different variations there, across 19 days, and there's 8 different steps. A mixture of automated emails. So when I say automated emails in this sense, that just sends the email to them without you needing to actually jump into your emails and send a manual email. But there is some manual here, so it's almost like a check to say, hey, if you did speak to them on this day, you might want to check whether you're going to send a follow-up email yourself rather than letting the automation take over. Now, how these work is that it will keep them in this sequence until they either reply or they book a meeting. There's actually criteria that you can set in the next step to unenroll them. If I click on that. So if they've actually got in contact with you, it will stop this sequence and they won't continue to receive these. You won't continue to receive the tasks. The dynamic sequences, that's a new thing. So the thing with dynamic sequences is that you can then choose to change the path that lead runs on based on certain criteria. That criteria is email opens or clicks. So if they open an email 5 times and they click a link in there 3 times, you can kind of customize this criteria you can then change to say you get a task or a notification. So that's really helpful because I think it kind of, if someone's clicking a link in an email, whether it's you've sent them a certain downloadable, you've sent them, if they're in the decision stage, you've sent them, you've sent them case studies or you've sent them a quote later on down the pipeline. If they are clicking that and engaging with it, you might want to get notified to say, hey, this person is engaging, reach out or do something different, whether it's sending a manual email, it's giving them a call, there's other options here of sending in-mail. There's a range of different things you can do. I'll say the one probably difference here is that once they get pulled out of that and they do engage with that content, it no longer continues to send those automated emails or those tasks that you had set up separately. So just being mindful of that.
You can't bounce back in, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't just bounce back and forth. So it's just being mindful that once you get that notification to say, hey, this person is engaging with content, it's now up to you to manually follow that up and not follow those those automated sequences.
Very helpful tool. I definitely think if you are writing the same thing every single time to a prospect that reaches out, whether it's on a form or whether you're trying to get someone to schedule a meeting or anything along those lines, I highly recommend you utilize that because it's definitely going to save you a lot of time. It's funny for us, after a short period of time, we should practice what we preach, is that myself and Mia, we were always sort of like, when anyone inquired, we sort of obviously have the opportunity for them to book a meeting. We'd always reach out going, hey, we sent the meeting, do a check. And I was like, why don't we just put this into a sequence? And I'm like, then HubSpot opened up the opportunity for it to go through on a form submission just at a pro level. I was like, hey, so now we've basically just taken away a lot of that follow-up, like, hey, you've got a task, got to follow up in a couple of days. It just basically does it itself and either drops off or whatnot. But if they reply or book a meeting, happy days. That's the intent for the sequence as well.
To save those people that they fill out a form and then just ghost you and never come back.
Yes.
You don't have to do anything there.
Nothing.
Just nothing at all.
Yeah, do less.
Yeah, go on a holiday. Go on a holiday to Greece.
Go on a holiday to Greece. Thanks, George. Well, one thing, just be mindful of time. I think the next thing I kind of want to tackle on, so that was for prospecting, obviously when it comes through, going through and sort of helping sort through a large number of leads. Is there a limit on how many we can enroll in a...
Per day?
Per day.
It is, you can enroll
50
people, no, at a time you can enroll 50 people.
Yep.
You can send 500 emails per day, per sales user.
Okay.
So let's say if you've got multiple sequences on the go and you've enrolled lots of people, you've got to be mindful of that 500 emails per day because you're not going to be able to enroll more people because you're sending out those emails.
That's right.
That's just to stop kind of your email getting triggered for spam. Which you do.
I think you probably are using it for spam if one single person is sending 500 emails a day.
Yeah, it builds up pretty quick.
Yeah. Thanks, George. I think the next thing I kind of wanted to touch on is the prospecting agent, which recently came out, which when it first came out, very like early alpha beta, we used it and I was like, I don't know about that. But then now I'm kind of starting to come around now. Obviously, the product team is starting to develop it a little bit more. So so basically what I got to do is step through the prospecting agent as we've got it here in beta as well. Obviously, this is in our portal. Feel free, if you don't have the ability to do it, speak to somebody, your customer success manager, to be able to unlock it. But let's dig in and take a little bit of a look of what we've got here. All right, so let's dig into the prospecting agent. Here is our portal. Welcome. Make yourself at home. I have got some stuff that I've kind of set up here anyway. If you go and basically set up for the first time, it will pop up with this screen, which will pop up and say, create a new selling profile. Now, what is this all about? Well, if you click on this little guy, here it's basically going to step through and look at the selling information that you kind of want to include. Maybe this specific person has inquired about a specific service or product or vertical of what your organization sells. So this is kind of where you can really kind of give it a whole bunch of context. So in this instance, it literally just did it as we were speaking just then. It pulled the information from our website, told me what I sell, told me what our value proposition is, pain points, and also has the ability to add our products or services from line items in here as well. And then basically what industries and what personas do you do. So you can go through and fill out that specific information yourself. I have selected one already called the new HubSpotter for people that come to us that have never used HubSpot before. I think that's really important because the way that we sell to people that are existing HubSpot users and new ones are very different. Existing ones love jargon, New ones are like, what are you even talking about? So it's really important to make sure that we kind of customize this specifically. Here you can kind of see that we've got our description, selling to people that are brand new to HubSpot that aren't customers. We've got our identity, so it's sending from me, so I've connected up my Gmail as well. And we've got our tone as well. So do we want to be professional? And in here you can automatically move across. It's moving across to the brand voice area, which is kind of fairly new, and now it's wigging out. Pretty hardcore. Let's get back to where we are. Let's do it. Here we go. Let's do this yesterday as well. It'll use your brand voice, which is now in the settings area, which was where it was taking me. It's got your sources and training, so it's obviously filling out this specific information that it's learnt about you. You've got specific calls to action here as well, so we can request to have a meeting, have the meeting specifically here. We can attach specific documents or specific URLs for calls to action. Case studies, anything that you have here. So just a reminder, the prospecting agent is going to go through and do sequences, but AI, it's based on the specific instance that it's got there. It'll go through and look at the email guidance too. So it'll basically sit there and say, how long do we want the initial email, the second email, and the third email as we go through. And we've also got the reach out hours as well. Do people work after hours? Do you want to seem a little bit human? I usually
sending emails out at 1 a.m. in the morning.
I always get them.
Not a good look.
Not a good look. I definitely think between sort of 10 and 4 is a great time. I think mainly because you've got an influx of people checking emails in the morning. Obviously obviously what I find, actually, this is a little disclaimer tip, 11 a.m. is perfect. 11:30 during the day is a very good time to send newsletters and also these. Why? Because people are just about to go to lunch and people sit down and usually sit there and go through their emails or Facebook or TikTok or whatever it might be. So it's time that they're kind of at rest at their phone as well. So, or they're winding down for lunch as well. So 11:30 is kind of like my little sweet spot, but you do you and you pick the time that you think that it should work.
Everyone's audience is going to be completely different there as well.
Yes, 100%.
We were talking with like a trade client the other day, and it's like tradies are going to hit smoko at 10 a.m.
Actually, I didn't even think
so you want to think about like that little bit time before that. And they're going to be on their phones during that time.
Be like Chloe at smoko 11.
Yeah.
It's past time now.
Actually, yeah, you should be going out now.
Now, so the idea with this as well is it's going to, as it said before, send 3 emails that are contextual based on the information that it's got. In here, we can do semi-autonomous, which basically says, I'm going to write it out for you, and then you've just got to give me the okay, and I'm going to send it. Or you could step onto the ledge, the AI ledge, just step right out and be like, fall, which means that it's going to be fully autonomous. You're not even going to see it before it gets sent out. Don't do this to start off with, please. Do not do this.
I'd be so nervous doing that.
Yes. It does say this email was written with the help of AI, which is fine. But I think just get a feel for the tool before you go ahead and do it as well. So you can go, I've selected semi-autonomous on this instance. As you go through, basically what you can do is then view the specific automations that it's got in here too. So this is exactly like the the sequencing tool, as well as that we're going to set the specific criteria on when we want it to go through and enroll. I think that the prospecting tool should kind of be called AI sequences, 100%. I just think that they should have called it that. Maybe they just needed buzzwords like prospecting agent and stuff like that. I definitely think it's like an octopus arm from the original sequences tool.
Yeah.
It marries the same process that George just said in regards to like, when do we want to trigger? Page on a page view. I feel like there's an echo in this room.
That is literally the sequences enrollment.
Yeah, and then criteria based, last engaged more than X, or also when it was added to a list. So here it just allows us to enroll that specific person into that sort of workflow. But you're probably screaming on the other side going, well, what does it create? Is it rubbish? Is it good? What does it say? Well, I have gone through and I've basically enrolled myself and George into the AI sequence, or the prospecting agent, if you will. So what it does, it's obviously got some contacts that it's enrolled, and basically what it's doing is it's saying that it's ready for review because I've done semi-autonomous. In this instance, I'm going to go to my one, and then I'll go to George's to see if it's any different or whether it's just copying and pasting.
See if it finds really personal things.
So we're going to review the emails and click. So this is the one specifically for me, and then I need to go through and say, cool, you can start emailing me. So basically what it said is that Trav, is HubSpot on your radar? I will say there's Zs in here. If you're over here in Australia or in Britain or anything along those lines that is doesn't use Zs or anything like that, in your brand voice in settings, that's where you're going to be able to sort of change that and make sure the tone of voice is in British English language or British English grammar. Then you'll remove the Zs and all that sort of jazz. But I have clearly not done that in this instance, but you can see here, just pretend everyone from America watch this part. So as the head of growth in neighborhood, so clearly it knows my role. So it's gone and picked up on my role. Asterisks, Breeze credits here for enrichment will help this greatly. I'm not pushing it. Well, I am pushing it. If you want this to work really well, use Breeze credits for enrichment, because then it will enrich all company data and find information specifically about that individual that will help this be a bit more personable. So I've put some information in the, I just say that and then Chloe's like, all right, I've got to do that, in the description below. But you can see here, expert onboarding and custom setup services at Neighborhood. It lets you enable the process. Feel free to schedule a time with here. So one thing I will say is that you need to have your email signature set up inside the cog.
Profile and preferences.
Profile preferences and then signature, edit signature. You need to have one of those there in order for this to sort of look how it's looking here. I like this. It's not too bad. It's picked up that I'm the head of growth, mainly because I have that information in the CRM about me. It's contextualized it based on the information and the pages that it's picked up. Remember, I said that I worked at Neighborhood, so it's basically sifted through my website and contextualized it to say, our export onboarding and custom setup services, enhance current processes, blah, blah, blah. So it's contextual. It's not bad. It's really not bad. And if you're going at volume, this is really good. But hey, I didn't reply. What's going to happen next? Seems like a sequence to me. I'm going to wait for 2 days here, and then basically it's going to send 2 of 3. Hi Trav, I'm curious about how your team at Neighborhood. Get used to the fact that Neighborhood is us. This is an example, so it would not be Neighborhood, it would be a different company. Handling integration challenges with HubSpot. Many teams find that seamless integration can significantly enhance their efficiency and customer interactions. I actually don't mind this as well. This is good. It's actually short, sharp, and concise. You don't want someone with a novel dot points, pricing guide, all this sort of jazz. What you're trying to do, and this is what the instance for sequences is trigger a pain point to be like, oh, these people can help me. It's done that for me as well. It's gone first and said, hey, we can help you out with HubSpot onboarding. We can help you with custom setup. Hasn't triggered yet. Hey, what about integrations, challenges, or anything like that? That's another thing that we've done that we're triggering on as well. But let's wait and see what we've got. Another 2 days later, the third email. Just wanted to check one last time. No worries.
The old breakup email.
Little breakup, little Hail Mary.
Do want to talk to you anyway.
To see if optimizing HubSpot is something to explore further. Our team at Neighborhood is ready to explore tailored solutions. Now look, I don't talk like this, and nobody at Neighborhood would ever talk like this. I just want to get that very clear. So spending a lot of time and effort on that brand voice inside settings is going to be very, very, please do not rush that part. Clearly, this is a very good example, Zeds and talking like a robot, professional robot. This is not us at Neighborhood, but it means that more effort needs to go into a lot of time and crafting into that brand voice, just to make sure that when it pops out the other side, it's exactly like how you guys would speak. Because what you want is consistency, because once someone goes ahead and books a time, oh, you're talking like you're writing. Oh, that makes sense. If you have got robotic and then you come back and you're like, hey, what's going on? You're like, hang on, the trust is not there because you're talking really quite professionally, but you're being quite jovial on the other side. So it's really important to be consistent in regards to that. So spend some time in the brand voice.
It'd be weird, like you get that really robotic and then it's you at the other end.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is totally different. Like
I'm casually professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we have a look at George here, and we can see here that it's definitely not at all. Now remember, we can contextualize this with a form submission too. So for example, if George goes and says, my HubSpot integration isn't working, or I need to convert more, or I need to convert more in sales, or my sales velocity, it'll take this into consideration with some of the replies that it's got here. I don't believe, well, this is a 10-year-old partner account, so it's probably picking up some stuff and demos throughout the years, but
with the Raiders there.
Yeah, for sure. So you can kind of see here that it's kind of, it's saying the Raiders. It's the old company name that we had. But so we can see here that it's definitely going through and it's saying, it's pulling in it's pulling in context from their website. So we used to do a lot of youth-focused marketing before we sort of head dives back into HubSpot. But here it's saying that, efficiently connecting with the right audience and turning heads into clients can be a challenge for youth-focused marketing. At Neighborhood, we specialize in HubSpot onboarding and custom setup. So it's bringing context from their website or what it knows within HubSpot into this email as well. So I can confidently say that the jury is out now, and then if you spend a lot of time, if you spend a lot of time on the brand voice as well and give it and craft it very carefully in regards to how it's all set up in regards to the buyer or the agent setup specifically, and you've got a large amount of people that you want to go through and actually reach out to try to engage, I would not use sequences. Sorry about that, George. Apologies.
Very disrespectful, actually.
We're going to delete that segment. I would not use sequences. I would use prospecting agent every day of the week. Reason being is that this is bringing context in from the CRM internally into these emails as well with the right brand voice. It's also it's being contextual and different in every aspect for every step as well. So if we're looking, there's no way that you could personalize. You could probably try. Actually, no, I probably could, but it would just be very limited in regards to contextualizing.
Wouldn't always be perfect.
You could use the ChatGPT integration to pull context and then bring it through. And it's just a big setup that's not worth it. Mm-hmm. You can with this, and it would be contextual, and it would be far more contextual. And I guarantee you'd probably get a better conversion rate with this than you would with yours. I win.
I don't know. Well, the contextual is probably the big part there.
100%.
You need to know enough about them to really know what you're going to say.
Well, yeah, to that point, Breeze credits and using Breeze enrichment will help you in this instance because damn, they're kind of kicking your toe a little bit, when you those credits and those enrichment. And look, there is Breeze credits enrichment, but there are also Apollo and a bunch of other platforms that you can enrich data to as well, even more. The more data it has, the better it's going to be, as well as brand voice. So I think to that point, you'll need enrichment in there in order for context.
I think that's the way HubSpot's really going now as well, is those Breeze credits and being able to pull that information in. I think it's becoming more and more vital now.
Yes.
Because it used to be such a valuable part of it.
Free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another quick little tidbit, if you go across to sales and sales workspace, under the feed here, it used to be it used to be quite prominent in the old space here, but you can actually go ahead and see specific individuals that are visiting your space from either known or unknown aspects. Also email opens, email clicks as well. I thought I'd add this one in here as well because you could get insight in regards to who's sort of connecting with you. If you're on Chrome and you're using this as well, they've also got the same one. If you click on the orange one up the top here, it will show you the details specifically in here to show you when you're kind of not in HubSpot as well. So that's a little tidbit as well I'd kind of want to add in there. Some people are aware, but some aren't as well. So if you're unaware, now you know.
I think it's one of the best free and simple tools that HubSpot has, where it's that sales icon and being able to see that when they've clicked or open links. In prospecting, if they're engaging with your emails and what you're sending them, you're going to get notified about it, so you can make a change or do something based on that. Same as further down the funnel, if you send somebody a quote or a proposal, they're clicking that link over and over again. I think the classic thing we always use when we're doing sales trainings is you can get those notifications and call them when they're looking exactly at that quote or that proposal. And the old kind of, I was just thinking about you guys. You don't necessarily have to say that I saw you were looking at it. You can just call and go, hey, I just wanted to check in on that quote. And it just so happens that at the exact same time, they've clicked that and are looking at it.
Yeah.
It's such a simple thing, but a really powerful tool.
Yeah. A really great segue for that is this documents tool that is the oldest tool in the world. No, the projects tool. If you go up to the menu and go down to projects, that is the oldest tool.
That is the first thing ever invented in here.
The documents tool is really good for those that know, those that don't. You can upload a PDF in here. You can create a URL share link as well. When you create the actual URL link, you send it to the prospect. The prospect, you get insight in regards to who's opening it, when they're opening it, how long they're spending on a page, and how many times they're reopening it. Perfect for lead scoring because you can then track how many times they're looking at that document online. this is a very good tool. Underutilized if we're looking to become a smarter prospector as we go through. It's best to go through, and I just literally got off a call right there. We want to generate more leads. Hyper focus on what you've got. You've paid for it. They're here. They know about you. Set up a strategy in regards to newsletters to go through and actually re-engage with people. Use the clicks and engagement for lead scoring specifically as well. Enroll people into sequences as well to try to get them to sort of reach out. Be very considerate and be very mindful. This might not be the right time. That's fine. Just be very respectful and in those communications as you go through as well. Get the lead scoring aspects done too, because you want to know when they're clicking. You're doing all this activity. You want to know how that's going. Speak to sales specifically. Get more insight in regards to what's working and isn't working. If you are doing paid as well and the paid's coming through, make sure that's connected and make sure that's going through so you get really good insights in regards to which is high performing and low performing keywords as well. Again, that gives you better insight as a prospector in what to focus on as well. And last but not least as well, if your marketing team and your sales team, because marketing lives together, sales and marketing live together. Synergy of departments. Not using the campaigns tool, please use the campaigns tool. Please use the campaigns tool. It's really going to work on what assets are working from a marketing and a sales aspect and then attribute the specific individual assets that you're using in that sort of process to a dollar figure to ensure so that you know what's working. I definitely think a prospect, and if I'm talking like innovation of, I don't think a prospect, like someone that works as an SDR or in a sales process is just in sales. I think when you're prospecting for new opportunities, there is definitely a mix between marketing and sales, and you have to get really good at the marketing aspects and what they're doing in that part in order to be able to convert them into a specific a sort of opportunity for the business. You need that intel from marketing and you need the insight from it to understand what to look out for and what to focus on more, but in order to hand it over. So I kind of feel like it's sort of prospecting is, I think, more weighed to marketing than it is sales.
Yeah, 100%.
Depending on where it is in the sales cycle, I definitely think you need to become, and you might not think that you're a good marketer if you're in sales, but you get a good feel for what your product or service is. So to become a better marketer means a better prospector, means that you've got the tools to give, I guess, that feedback loop to marketing in what to do more or less of and how to better themselves. I do it with Chloe all the time. This is what people are talking about. This is what we need to focus on. And with our feedback loops, it just helps her, I guess, get a better idea of what content we need to create. But if you want to become a better prospector, I definitely think becoming more involved or becoming better, like becoming more involved within marketing, and you'll become better at sort of understanding that customer and obviously using the tools in HubSpot and where to look. I
think there are things like you could do with marketing to try to target people as well. Like the one we've spoken about recently is that people who are in a certain deal stage, or even we go back to scoring, they're a certain score. You can build an audience in the ads tool and target them with specific content. So what the messages that you're sending as part of your, say, your sequences or the prospecting agent, the type of emails that are getting sent out there could align with the type of content that they're seeing on LinkedIn from you or from Facebook or Instagram or anywhere sort of thing. So it really is, like Trav's saying, it's working together with marketing. It's not just sales, just look after prospecting. It's kind of a whole sales and marketing thing.
Yeah. I will, as we wrap up here today, I will mention one thing that recently came out. Obviously, I will put another disclaimer here that I haven't used it myself, but this makes so much sense. The new deep research tool in ChatGPT and the connector with HubSpot, I really honestly think if you dig into that and start to probe it, so for those that don't know, there'll be a link in the description. Also on the screen right now will be a bit of a video run through of how it kind of works. Thank you, Chloe. Is that you connect up your HubSpot account, and then when you ask it questions, it indexes all of the information it knows within HubSpot and then helps you pull that specific information out using ChatGPT as well. So you're not only using its LLMs to go through and understand how it works, but it's using contextual data in your HubSpot account to actually provide that. So writing something along the lines of, hey, I'm creating a lead scoring system using the Fibonacci sequence because we watched this epic video from Neighborhood on the HubSpot User Group. I want to create a Fibonacci sequence for the highly, you can ask it to be like, I want you to create one that's based on a Fibonacci sequence based on the engagement and the most recent closed deals. You could really fast track that whole, at least to get the foundation set up. If you are looking at prospecting, I'd like to review all aspects to those that got through the sales process and didn't close. Those that got to the first inquiry but didn't convert, give me a list, understand, start to probe it and start to sort of like investigate, these specific aspects to become a better prospector. I think then what you can start to do is, with that knowledge and insight, implement some of those strategies as a baseline foundation and continually improve. Don't rely on AI to continually get there. Challenge the status quo with AI, but then go through and just sort of jettison yourself up to the foundational level and then sort of continue to improve and then sort of hit ChatGPT up and sort of challenge your thinking as well. I think that would be, I probably should have mentioned it before, but I think it's definitely a good sort of shout specifically given for those that haven't really started or touched these tools before.
Yeah, it'll give you a good base and then just run from there. But the amount, the good information that ChatGPT can spit out now, it's night and day from where it was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I would have said, take a bit of time to get through it all, but now it's just night and day.
Yeah. Well, I think that wraps us up today. Let me just do a little summary because we spoke a lot about different topics. I think lead scoring, looking at the different types of lead scoring and go through Fibonacci sequencing and then also looking through the engagement. I did say go through and connect up your HubSpot account to a ChatGPT account to go through and start to analyze specific data to get a foundational model set up for you and your lead scoring as well. Thanks, George.
No worries.
We went through sequencing. Well, we went through two different types of sequencing. We went through sequencing and dynamic sequencing. We also went through AI sequencing or the prospecting agent as well. Really great if you have sales enterprise to auto-enroll. Otherwise, you can enroll them into a form submission and go through. Highly suggested with such a large volume, this will be really helpful. 50 enrollments, 500 emails. Keep that top of mind. Don't go too crazy out there.
Yeah, you will. Yeah. You will get marked for spam.
Yeah, you'll get marked for spam.
And that is not.
But also at the same time, learn in small increments as well. And then we spoke about the documents tool and we spoke about the feed as well. So there's a couple of little things in there as well to help go through. So yeah, with the use of AI, there's obviously a lot of things that you can do when connecting up your HubSpot account to get that better insights. Before we wrap up, there were a couple of topics that we did run out of time because we got sucked into the lead scoring vortex. There's two areas that you kind of wanted to cover just for people to check out as well.
I think worth taking a look at the buyer intent area under marketing. It will show people that are looking at your website, and I will just flag that it's not always completely accurate because it does pull sometimes like their internet provider. So you'll get like, I'm trying to think of what some of the internet providers are, but you get some random ones that appear Superloop, that'll appear there and they're looking at your website and you're like, who is that? It's because it hasn't been able to differentiate who they are specifically. So that's there's a bunch of new features in there. That again is really good with the Breeze credits because it can actually go and get some research based on them. Also target accounts is really good, but I'd say target accounts is really good if you're trying to target big organizations. I'm talking about big global brands with massive teams that have a lot of people in them that you'll have, you could have 20 people in the CRM from that company. It just gives you a bit of a breakdown to be able to work out who you need to focus on, who your decision makers are, who the blockers are, who the influencers in that company are. It just helps you as a sales team have a better structure about how you're going to approach targeting someone.
Yeah, nice.
And those are the two worthwhile taking a look at. But I think these other tools we've gone through today are probably really good starting point.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for catching up, George. And thank you, everybody. If there's a specific topic that you guys wanted to dig in a little bit more, you can hit us up at weare@nbh.co or leave a comment in the description below. I will also tell you for free that there is, in a few weeks, I will not be here. And Harry and Cassie will be here to go through Master HubSpot for Finance Brokers. 17th of July at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And Harry and Cassie are really going to step through, I think, how to get it set up, best practices, some things that we've found, integrations and tools that will really help fast track a lot of that data as well, whilst also creating a really kick-ass customer experience as well. So make sure you tune in for that. There's a description, there's hopefully a link in the top corner if you're watching the recording. and also a link below as well. But thanks, George. Appreciate helping out with that.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and good luck out there in the prospecting world. Again, reach out. We'd like to know how you're going and how these tools are actually working. I want to know if you think the prospecting agent is any good. Let me know. All right, that's it from me. Happy HubSpotting, and I will see you guys a little bit browner, a little bit fatter, and I will see you in August.
A lot fatter.
Yes. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day. Bye now.
See you guys.